Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is happening in the stars above. Happy Friday. Sure came fast, didn't it? Only 4-day weeks for us, at least. That had a 3-day weekend last weekend. It happened before we knew it. It was here. And that means today we're going to be working on not only Friday, but Saturday and Sunday's report. So it is the Weekend Awareness Report. And I've taken to calling it that because there's no way that all of us are going to retain everything I say about today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So it is about being aware that there is something going on, something moving through the stars that has an effect on you, right? And on how we get along together and on the specific things that we might be more inclined to do during the weekend. So that's why I call it the Weekend Awareness Report now. As well, today we have some specific things we're going to look at. So let me lay out, if you will, the agenda. We're going to talk about Friday and then Saturday and then Sunday, but I'm going to break those down into the moon and what it's doing that day, the transits, if any, that are specific to other planets, and if there's any movement in or changes of planets to signs or planets in direction, which of course we do have over the weekend. So that's kind of an excitement thing. So, and then we'll talk about the Pleiadian-Earth energy as well. I'm going to do that a little bit separately and then break it day by day, but we are also entering into the collective shadow cycle in Pleiadian-Earth energy today. And I believe I'm going to have to come on and do a separate video or writing an article for that because it's a bigger subject and probably would take too much space than what I could really pay good attention to today in the context of the weekend. As well, next week, Pia and Cullen will be joining us live, so she could really give us some insight into that cycle. And speaking of Pia and Cullen, I got their new book yesterday, The Pleiadian Manual for Accelerated Evolution and Ascension, Larkma's Step-by-Step Guide. And Larkma is the group of Pleiadians that they channel, and the wisdom that that body of spirits has is pretty amazing. And yesterday I got it late in the afternoon. I didn't expect it to come. I was thinking I was getting a calendar, but she sent me the book too. And it talks about steps, right? The steps to this evolution. And unity consciousness, objectivity, experience, and judgment, healing and love, changing the structure of reality. Where is your consciousness? Divine feminine and androgyny, preparing for a different world, moving forward and preparing to be you, cosmic weather and the effects of light, and step 10, manifestation. And then of particular interest to me, it's the first thing that jumped out at me. The first chapter I looked at was in the appendix called The Ascension Diet. And that was really interesting to me because I had spent a good deal of time talking about the changes in human diet via the solar plexus mutation in human design. So of course, my spidey senses come together when I see coherence between different systems of thought that bring up sort of that same idea where we're moving away from animals into more plants and eventually into light, right? That's maybe not in our lifetimes. I don't know. It could be, right? We could wake up tomorrow and be completely different beings. I don't know if that's reality or if that's imagination, magical thinking. But remember, Pluto and Saturn have been sitting at magical reality. So it opens up possibilities. Let me check in with people and say good morning. Hello, Monique. It's good to see you. J-Lo, hello. Asa, glad to see you out there. We didn't get our normal chit chat in this morning, and so I kind of missed that, but it's a good thing. I was really busy this morning. Andy girl, grand rising, everyone. I made the live. Yay. I thought I was going to miss it. My youngest son had a doctor's appointment this morning. You must be on the East Coast or in Europe or something. You must be East Coast. So you had time to do that. Kimberly Eberhardt, hello. Adrian Jones, good morning. J-Lo says, that sounds amazing. I know. I can't wait to dig in. I just hope I have space this weekend to do that. Either way, they're going to be here. They can talk us through this book. I have yet to receive the 2021 calendar. She assured me it's on its way. But, you know, mail being what it is, who knows when I will receive that. But I can't wait and I will show that to you as well. So Asa says, hope all is well, or no, J-Lo, hello. Asa, hope all is well. There you go. And I'm sure there will be other people checking in here shortly. I do have a question for everybody, though. My friend Amy, who, as you know, she's written a couple of books about compassionate meditation. She's also a Qigong practitioner and teacher. And she asked me this morning if I thought that you would benefit, or if you would be even interested in having her come on the show one morning and give us some movements that we can use for anger, frustration, upset during the Mars retrograde. So in the comment stream this morning, would you please just say, yes, I would be interested, or just say yes or no, not interested, or maybe just say yes if you're interested. How about that? Let's make it easy. And that way I can let her know if that's something that you guys would be interested in, and we'll plan then for a morning broadcast that has some Qigong movements in it, maybe 20 minutes of the broadcast for that. It'll be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, so let's dive in, shall we? So today is Friday. We have the moon in Cancer now as we slept. Actually, late last night for me, over the night for those of you on the East Coast and in Europe, the moon moved into Cancer from Gemini. Can you feel the difference? I can, right? It feels a little bit more soft, maybe a little less chatty in my head. And it feels more like there are feelings here, right? And you wouldn't be mistaken. The moon in Cancer is all about water energy, right? Water. It is a water sign. Water represents our emotions. So the sign of Cancer is the first of the water signs that brings us into that emotional field. And Cancer, of course, is ruled by the moon. Thus, the reason that often Cancer gets the reputation for being moody. And that's because the moon moves quickly, changes faces, and so does Cancer emotional energy. And Cancer, this is a new one I'm going to throw out to you. Some of you might remember this word. Cancer is a cardinal sign. Remember, there are three modes of operation for a planet or a sign, and that is cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And cardinal is the energy of initiation, right? It moves us forward. Fixed signs stay the course, right? Hold space, keep us in boundaries. And then the mutable signs change the game, right? They're the ones willing to adapt and mutate and grow. So we have three different energies, all three necessary for us to have a fulfilling life. So Cancer, cardinal, water. So we have emotional energy bubbling up here today and for the next day or day and a half after today. Cancer rules home and family, right? And our gut instincts, our connection to our ancestry. So those of you out there who have Cancer prominent in your chart, you're probably always busy with family. They come first often for people who have that prominent. And as well, you may even be interested in genealogy. I know I'm talking to you, J-Lo, because you and I both do that, right? We have I have this fascination, J-Lo, I'm sure it's there for you too, of the family dynamics through the history, right? There's just something about going way back in time and seeing that there's a connection from them to me, and how fascinating that is, right? To be able to see that and chart that, finding their names, sometimes even their stories. It's great. So genealogy, family history, home, and our gut instincts, the things that kind of anchor us to the planet here and keep us safe. Safety, another number one concern for the sign of Cancer. Security, right? They're very security and safety conscious, not like, putting on the yellow, jacket and hard hat, kind of safety, but, what keeps us protected, what keeps us secure, what keeps us stable in life comes through the sign of Cancer. So there's the energy of protection, of security, of stability, but also protection. So protection is a big part of the energy during this period of time. And it's interesting because today is September 11th, the anniversary of the Twin Tower attacks. And the United States, as a Cancer country, enacted several protections after that particular event that were designed to keep us protected, but also walked on a lot of our freedoms. Try getting on an airplane now without having to go through security. Ain't going to happen. And if you manage to do that, you're probably going to jail because you are not obeying the rules there. So safety and security and protection, very big in the minds of Cancer. Also financial security. Cancer energy means that wherever that is in your chart, when the things are there that support you, money, especially money, or food in your cupboards, in the refrigerator or the freezer stocked, you feel more capable of going out into the world because the survival energy is taken care of. Cancer also represents our early childhood development and our growth throughout life. It's about nurturing energy, nurturing the new beginning. So cancers are often thought of as the mother energy, right? Mother energy, because there's early childhood connection, teaching, feeding, clothing, nurturing, soothing, all of the things that mother comforting energy that we think of that comes through Cancer, as well as the conditioning from your early childhood as it relates to safety and protection and things like that, right? If you in your first 7 years experience a lot of volatility and you are Cancer, Cancer rising, or have Cancer prominent, moon in Cancer, another thing, that volatility in those first 7 years may make you overly worried about security and protection as time goes on in your life. So those kind of issues come up through Cancer as well. Intimacy, caring, empathy, vulnerability, also a part of the Cancer experience. And of course, feelings, emotions, moods, all of the different changes in our feeling field during the weekend from now until Sunday. Moodiness, awareness of our own feelings. That would be the high side here. Awareness of really tapping in and what am I feeling about this? Our sensitivity to what others are feeling, right? How are others showing up out there in the world? What are they needing from us, or from what do they need for support from us? And what might we be willing to give to them in support as a nurturing element, right? Supporting food, mother, all that nurturing energy. Of course, any sign, as we talk about here, has the excessive side, right? In Cancer, it is excessive self-protection, clinginess, insecurities, right? All the energies of I'm not good enough, right? Kind of come through there. I'm not secure. I need more money, or I need more food. I need more something to make me feel more comfortable, more safe, and more secure. Possessiveness and being overly cautious, a fear of rejection, and a lack of definitive goals. Hmm. Hmm. Not good at this point in time, right? Capricorn planets on the other side are really driving us to move into that, really the plan, right? And then being able to take sustainable steps toward our goals, right? So anyway, that's what we're dealing with. The body, it is the breasts, the chest cavity, the pancreas, the stomach. So things like ulcers or stomach upset, reflux, those kinds of things happen often in the stomach, and tumors. So Cancer, a little bit different from Virgo's connection to the stomach. Virgo's connection to the stomach is actually about the actual digestion, right? The assimilation of the nutrients from the food taken in via the stomach, but the stomach itself is actually ruled by Cancer, just to clear that up for anybody that is confused. All right, so more about Friday. This is sort of my mind this morning, right? This is my mind. I did Friday over here. And then I went, oh, shoot, I forgot something, because then I started Saturday. Then I went, wait, there's more for Friday. So I had to go over to the back to finish Friday. And then there's Sunday on the back and more Saturday on the front. Oh my gosh, crazy. It's a good thing I can follow my own thinking, because sometimes it's all over the place. That often happens too, right after the transition from one sign to another, particularly if you're comfortable in the previous sign, as I am in the moon in Gemini. It seems to support my Gemini self. And now it's not that the moon in Cancer isn't supportive, because I also have a Cancer rising sign, but it can sometimes be a little odd as you transition from one energy into the other. So that's why my thinking was probably a little bit all over the place. So let's look at what else is happening here today, Friday. We have the sun in a powerful opposition today to Neptune. This happens yearly, right? The sun moves in a predictable pattern around the wheel of the zodiac. Neptune moves very slowly, so he's not gone very far this year. And the sun coming to an opposition is very similar to where he opposed Neptune last year. But it's always just a little bit different, right? Last year, Neptune wasn't at the gate 22 in your human design. I got to remember what gate he was at, 63, I think, which was about doubt, self doubt. But now he's sitting at the gate 22 and the sun is at the gate 47. So we're seeing how our mindset is connected to how we show up in the world. If your mind is on all the fear-based things, then it's going to be hard for you to be charming and gracious and a good listener and helping other people. But if you've got your mind in the right place, then the connection to the solar plexus is smooth and flowing. So today is probably not a great day to push yourself out there into the world to assert yourself. It's likely today would be a problem creating more confusion, more doubt in yourself or other people doubting you. So asserting yourself today may just create more of that. I'm not sure about this person, or I'm not sure. And maybe people even sense your own doubt in yourself or your own confusion. So try to hang back a bit today, right? Don't be pushy. Don't push yourself out there onto people or into situations. Maybe just hang back and see if there's an opening that presents itself and then move accordingly. Things are hazy today. And isn't it freaking interesting that here in the Pacific Northwest, we have some kind of big, super massive smoke blob that is coming up toward us? It's already here, and I can smell it in the air. I can see it. This morning, I took a picture of the sun sitting here at my desk. It was reflected to me in the doorway that leads to the outside, and it was bright red orange. It was almost eerie. My eyes are a little stingy, burning. I feel kind of stuffed up. I'm probably going to have to close windows as the day goes on because the smoke blob here making things hazy. Now, that's the literal physical manifestation of it, but our minds may also be a little hazy today, right? You may be a little fogged in. You may be a little bit more sleepy than usual. You may be a little more, I need some coziness today, getting that hot cup of tea. I really wish I could drink coffee and talk at the same time. But today is a day where it might be better for introspection. It might be better for contemplation, maybe some spiritual study, or revisiting your dreams, right? A couple of people that I've been talking to recently, I've given them assignments. It's time to really take a look at your dreams, get outside of what you believe is true for you and see something more. So maybe today's a great day for going back to the dreams. What did I dream that I could be? Who did I want to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want to share? What are my gifts and my talents? And how do I want to apply those out in the world? So today's a great day for that. All right, I'm not seeing anything pop up here from Asa, but I do want to go back and see how everyone else is doing here. Ursula, good morning. The book is awesome. I'm sure I can't wait to dive in. Ursula also says more heart palpitations, so I'm slowing my projector self down and not drinking too much coffee and am slowing myself down. Hard to do, but definitely necessary for you, Ursula. As you noted yesterday when I came on air for the quick little check-in about the two projector charts, you noted one of them was yours. I think the other one was Debbie Tippett's Tumiel. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that was her chart because I know her chart better. And likely because you have that defined ego or heart center, maybe you've been pushing a little bit, right? Maybe you've been sticking to tenacity or persevering or enduring through something. And really what your body needs is let it all go, right? You know how it feels after you get out of that tight pair of jeans at the end of the day and you put your jammies on and you're like, oh, maybe you need one of those moments, right? Maybe you just need a relaxation. Let go of the fear. There's a lot of stress in the area where you live, right? Or has been. And often we're on task, right? We're right there, Johnny on the spot in the moment of the trigger for the stress because we need to be. right? We have to be aware about everything that we have to do, possibly in your case to evacuate or to whatever, right? Then afterwards, when the strength of the survival instinct wanes, it's almost like you get that hangover feeling. And now you need more rest. You got to recoup your energy because you don't have sustainable life force energy. So hopefully that helps. And releasing yourself from coffee is probably a good plan, as it will, not add any chemical imbalance to the picture. So Augustine, good morning. Asa says, yes, I know what that's about. Ursula says, our sun is bright red with gray skies. Feels biblical. It does. It feels apocalyptic. It does. It does. I can't help myself, but I keep it. It's eerie. Like right now, what looks like it's cloudy, dark in my room is really not clouds at all. It's smoke. And I feel it in my chest, even though I don't normally have any kind of lung issues. I just feel like I need to take deep breaths because I'm not breathing as deep because I don't want all that smoke in my. Anyway, I guess these are just some of the realities we have to deal with in the moment. Debbie Tippett's Two Meal says, sure, sounds great. Jennifer Peachy, yes. Good morning to you, by the way, Debbie. Natasha, good morning. Jennifer Peachy, good morning. Loving Light, I think that's you, Andy. Good morning to you. And let's see, Taylor, good morning. Hope everyone's day is going great. I love it. Andy says, or Andy Girl, I feel like coffee for me lately has been having the opposite of fresh and actually making me more sleepy. Ooh, yes, maybe you have a sensitivity to it, right? Maybe you're allergic to caffeine. And J-Lo says, me too, Andy. My kids are like, Mom, you drink coffee and fall asleep. Shouldn't you be up? I'm like, girl, that's hot chocolate for me. But true, if you're falling asleep because of coffee, unless it's a decaffeinated coffee, maybe caffeine just overdoes your circuits a bit. So good morning, Loanne. It's good to see you. All right. So far, Loanne, all you've missed is we've talked about the moon in Cancer for today and also the sun opposing Neptune. We're only to Friday. So now we're going to go to Saturday. But first, I'm going to remind you about this collective shadow cycle that we are now entering into today with the Pleiadian calendar. And that runs from September 11th through the 30th. So from now until the end of the month, we're dealing on a collective level with some of those shadow energies. So hold on, I'm actually going to just give you a kind of rundown of that because I think it's worthwhile to understand what we mean by that. Page 163. And by the way, this is from the Pleiadian Astrology or Pleiadian-Earth Astrology book, also written by Pia and Cullen. And Alarkma was also part of this, and charting the spirals of consciousness. So literally, this is the Bible of the Pleiadian energies. And if you get this book, everything that we talk about the Pleiadian Earth energy is in here. Okay, so where was it that I wanted to read here? Because I underlined. Okay, here we go. Collective shadow periods always begin in the energy of for being. Today is for being. Yesterday, remember, was 3 enlightening. Enlightening was the last of the 20 earth signs, which means today we're back to the beginning of a cycle of the 20 earth signs. And today being a 4 universal day, it's the foundation energy. So the 4 builds a foundation of being, right? So what is our beingness? And that what often triggers the shadow. And and by the way, this only happens under the evolutionary cycle beginning with self-regulating, which, as we talked about on Tuesday, that was the day 1 self-regulating. So whenever we have 1 self-regulating, it's going to lead to 4 being. That's going to start a collective shadow cycle. Now, you also have an individual cycle of shadow, which I, at this point, am not prepared to be able to show you how that works. But that cycle is individual. It is also collective. And then we can even go into global cycles of the shadow and things like that. So, all right. So collective shadow periods always begin in the energy of 4 being, and they end on 10 enlightening. And Larkma explains that this combination of energies is particularly potent in awakening humans in the evolutionary process. So often when we are in a process of awakening, we're confronted first by the shadow. So what is the shadow that we're holding to? So those who wish to evolve simply must self-regulate to the energies demanding evolutionary change. As they begin to shift their perspectives and beliefs, they become more illuminated by the truth. So now the collective cycle. Many of our choices in the modern world are based on artificial financial values. We participate in a hierarchical system of charging money, paper that actually has no value, for services. This form of exchange is based on an idea that we must exchange our gifts and talents or work for a reward, food and shelter, that is provided by someone else. A more cooperative, energetic, conscious form of existence would eliminate the use of money for a more balanced exchange of energy. And I see that, right? I see every time we have an economic hit, right? We've artificially built this society on all of these things that are based in money, right? Money equals power. And no other species out here has to pay for shelter or has to pay for food. They become gatherers, or they find their own food and they lay their head down wherever it is that they've nested, or the cave that's available to them. But in human time, we parceled out the land. We took ownership of the land, and some in a very hierarchical, almost feeding frenzy, the people who own the land became the power brokers, the kings, the queens, right? Those were the people that owned the land. And anybody who wasn't a landowner was beholding to the person who owned the land for a place to live. And even sometimes for their own growing of their own food, they had to pay a portion of their food to the kingdom. And that's not different now, right? It's just a different way of how that's worked out. So in a collective shadow period, we are confronting the energies that have popped up like this, perhaps greed, right? Greed. The other shadow energies, if you look in your Gene Keys book, you'll see all of the shadow energies. And I actually posted at one point in time, and some of you who are new here may not have seen this, but I actually posted the 64 Gene Keys. This comes from the back page of the book. Ooh, that shadow, that light. So here you see every gene key and the Siddhi, the gift, and the shadow in the grayed out column. So the shadow energies that may be triggered are chaos, intolerance, impatience, dishonor, control, desire, arrogance, failure, and on, right? So that list is pretty extensive of the shadow fields that are still activated on the planet. So the collective shadow period gives us an opportunity to look at how we personally are playing into that shadow, or have we been able to move ahead of that shadow and start to live our lives from a new model, right? That's the idea of the shadow period. So there's that. Tomorrow, Saturday, Mercury moves into the gate 48 in your human design. So remember, we talked earlier in the week about what happens at the end of September, because the sun begins to transit all the gates of the spleen, which sometimes double as fear gates or paralysis points. So every gate on the spleen, whether you have it defined or not, has the potential to play that role. Teaching us about the shadow energies, teaching us about fear. Well, Mercury's running a little ahead of the sun right now, right? That he's moved past the sun and he's kind of dipping his toe in the water right now to see how is the fear field on the planet, right? Giving us an idea, a process by which we can, when the sun gets to that same gate, focus more intently on moving from the shadow to the gift. And the shadow at the gate 48 is inadequacy. It is the gate that's at the very far left of the spleen, and it leads up to the throat center. It is a gate that makes us feel often that we are not adequate to be able to share our gifts and our talents with the world. Yet that entire channel is part of the stream of mastery, right? So it is definitely something that we need to conquer, if you will, within us, this idea of not knowing enough, of not having enough credentials after our name, right? I see people sometimes with MASOPPDD, whatever, all those letters, those strings of letters that potentially are telling you about their mastery. But why did they pursue that many masteries, right? Why did they do that? Did they need to for a degree? Maybe. But did they also do it because somehow inside of them they felt inadequate to be able to really state, I'm a metaphysician, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a, whatever. And they kept getting more and more certifications and more books read, more and more things under their belt that they could be feel, so it would make them feel like they had more skills, more resources. But or that they needed more training, right? They've got all these training things done. So now I feel spectacular, right? I feel so good at what I know. But unfortunately, people that are like that don't feel that. Often they're still trying to create this feeling of adequacy. This is also a gate in the I Ching that's called the well, right? Because inside of you is a well of all of the resources that you need to do what you need to do, or what you came here to the planet to do. Now, does that mean you don't need education, or you shouldn't pursue skills outside of what you know now? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But do that in a different spirit. You do that because I want to know more, not because I want to know more because I don't feel like I know enough, right? That's a completely different feeling. But within you is all of the resources that you need to get to where you need to go in this life, what you came here to master. The gift level says it all. Resourcefulness, right? Resourcefulness or resourcefulness, right? You are full of resources. You don't necessarily have to go looking outside of yourself. But if you check in with yourself and you go, gee, it would be really nice to learn this kind of massage, then that's different than I feel inadequate doing what I do. So I better get some more initials, some more classes, some more credentials so I know what I'm doing. I hope you guys get that feel, right? That's the feeling. And the highest expression is wisdom, right? To know what you know and to know when to get more information to fill in any blanks, but not because of the fear of inadequacy. All right, so that's tomorrow. And Mercury's only there for a few days, and then he moves on to the next fear gate, and then he moves on to the next fear gate, and then on and on. He will manage to go through all those fear gates. Does he get through all of them? Let's see here. By the way, here's another handy dandy book for all of you. This is the 2020 Pocket Ephemeris from Zen Human Design. Upside down, Janet. There we go. Zen Human Design. You can get one of these yourself. You don't have to be a human design consultant to have one. And if you decide to get one, the website is humandesignsystem.com. In fact, I need to go there and see if the 2021 is available yet. Because in here are all of the changes, right, through all the different gates and on the days and so forth of what's happening. So let's see, Mercury, you are getting through to the gate 28, and the sun will start at the gate 18 on the 27th. So not quite, right? By the way, Mercury's already been in a fear gate. Mercury earlier in the week was at gate 18, which is a fear of judgment and a lack of perfection, right? Not feeling perfect. So I just noticed this morning that he's sort of tearing up the ground now, preparing us maybe through the shadows to really excel in life, right? To let go finally of those shadow fields and to move into the gift level of all of these things. So wisdom, resourcefulness, and inadequacy are our gene keys. And take a look, tap in, see where you are in that whole energy. Now, also on Saturday, woohoo, hallelujah, Jupiter stations direct. Yes, right, Jupiter. I want to take you back to May 14th of this year. That was the day that Jupiter turned into retrograde. So what was just tantalizingly out of reach for you at that point in time, right? What were you working on? What did you want, but you just, like your arm just couldn't get it, like that key right there. I just can't reach it. My arm won't reach it. So that is the feeling that we get when Jupiter sort of changes direction from direct to retrograde. So now with the change from retrograde to direct, what got blocked for us in May becomes available again. But likely during this 4-month period of time where we were in retrograde with Jupiter, our thoughts about what we thought we needed or wanted back there in May has changed. Likely it has. I know mine has. Right. I just have to look at my 3 big intentions that I started right around that period of time to see how it changed for me. So now the timing is that the retrograde period of time helped you solidify your faith in yourself, perhaps the faith in what you know, your conviction that this is what I'm here to do. Now moving direct tomorrow gives you the opportunities to prove it, right? To take it out there and do what you want to do. Your own faith in your skills will propel you forward. Not that I need one more book to read, because likely you were doing that in these 4 months. Right? Not that you don't read books. I don't mean that at all. I just mean you don't need those things, right? You have everything you need inside to go where you need to go. Growth, expansion, luck, success, all restored for us now, as long as we are having that faith in ourselves. Optimism and the feel goods, right, is being restored. But also remember where Jupiter is turning direct in, right? The sign of Capricorn. Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So we're not getting away scot-free with just, reckless abandon in our growth process. We really have a targeted growth that we've been after, that the universe has been bringing to us, has been whispering in our ear, banging us on the head, telling us we need to do. And hopefully that has been where your focus has been. And now the reward for having done that kind of work and for that introspective period of time comes home. Now, this is sort of a momentous occasion as well, because this is the last retrograde in that will experience this is the ending of Jupiter's transit in Capricorn. So from Saturday, tomorrow, until December 17th, I believe it is, he will finish his transit through Capricorn and prepare to enter into Aquarius. So we have this opportunity to finish our Capricorn lessons, to really see the path of growth that's been laid out in front of us, to be focused, targeted, planned, executing our plans, and taking stepwise approach to growth here in this time period. And then we'll be presented with new opportunities for growth when Jupiter moves into Aquarius. And remember, at that point in time, that's only like 3 days before Jupiter and Saturn meet up in a conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So literally, Saturn is going to be finishing up his transit of Capricorn, Jupiter finishing up his transit of Capricorn, and we're preparing to move into the next level or the next energy, which would be the energy of Aquarius. Back in 2016, I did a video. I saw this day coming, that day, December 21st, 2020. And I did a video. So I'm going to go find that video and resurrect it for everybody to see, because that was 4 years ago, right? Amazing what I might have thought of at that point in time. Okay, so any questions about what is happening on Friday or Saturday? Asa, I haven't been checking in here. Oh, good. Nothing. Okay. I like this. Let's go over here. Let me see what I can find. J-Lo, always a good one to remind us. Please hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video. If you're listening to me later through Blog Talk or from YouTube, please hit the thumbs up. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe. You can do that below the video. And you can also set a notification so you get notified when I come on air. All that is right there for you. Irene, good morning. And Andy says, it's interesting you mentioned the smoke stuff by you today. I'm in Florida, but I woke up with a heavy chest today, likely because your friends in California, Oregon, and Washington are choked out. And I would bet even Western Canada, Vancouver area, Vancouver Island may be getting to this. Tom, you'll have to check in with me later when you listen to the video and let me know if you are also experiencing the choke smoke. Irene says, hi from Sweden, sending love and light to all of you. So intense energies. And I have, for the second time in 5 weeks, got severe ulcers in the mouth. Oh, so painful. So incredibly painful. It takes so much energy. Irene, we're wishing you the best, sending you tons of love and healing energy. That's terrible. I know it. I found out yesterday I had a sucker punch in the afternoon. A friend of mine, I found out yesterday, passed away on Monday, and in a series of incredible issues, things like no one should experience and then die, right? The story is just sad. And yet here she is, free, and coming to another friend of ours, dancing and showing how she has, gone to the other side. But also two friends with diagnoses of cancer, one mouth and throat, and the other one some kind of rare liver cancer. So I it's hard to believe, right? I know that these people are all around my age, and it's just really kind of takes you, shortens your reign a bit as you go, wow, I'm so grateful for my health, and sending much healing energy out to people who are experiencing, any kind of health challenge, because that's always very difficult. It's draining on us. So everybody sending healing energy out to people in need, so they can absorb love and light and not all of the crazies that are out there at this moment in time. Anyway, okay, so what else did I miss back here? My friend in the UK said he has had the grayish fog type for a few days also. Yikes. I'm sure it's everywhere, under this kind of condition that we have, this amount of smoke that's generated. I'm sure it makes its way around the planet, right? Makes for incredibly beautiful sunrises and sunsets, but at what cost, right? It's not a cost that I like for us to have to take. Ursula, Buddha under the tree didn't have a list of credentials. Cosmic joke with how we wrap ourselves in security blankets. Oh, so profound, Ursula. Absolutely. And she goes on to say, I have double doubt gates. So I know about the security blankets. Double doubt gates. Jeez. That's a great one, right? Some people have a lot of gates defined on their spleen. And sometimes you'll see that they have a distinctive way of dealing with fear when it pops up in their lives. Then there are those people that have the open spleen, and they're taking in the fear energy from others, and it's inconsistent for them. So they may be the ones that get more fearful and, come in and crush down and, become more fearful than the other people that have a defined spleen. So it'll be interesting for us to really look through the spleen at how everybody's set up. Taylor says, have you guys seen Oregon? It looked red. Yeah, a good chunk of my family lives in Oregon. My close-in family lives here in Washington with me, but my sisters and brothers, like 6 of them live down there. So I can't even imagine for them what it's like. They're on fire. Here in Washington, we have some fires east of the Cascade Mountains, not here on the west side of the mountains where I live. But it doesn't matter when all of that smoke gets up in the atmosphere and the prevailing winds just shove it right at you, right? That's what's happening here. Okay. Ursula says, I missed it. What's happening with Janet? Me? Oh, did you miss the part where I said some friends of mine passed away, and a friend passed away, and 2 others were diagnosed with cancers? Nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine. Just feeling, a little heart heavy for people like Irene, who has some issues going on, Debbie, or, all these people that in the past several weeks and months have had issues with family members and themselves, accidents and hurts and heart hurts, all of that. I just wish we could all wrap each other in angel wings, right? I guess we can energetically, and just be there for comfort and love and support. And we can do that, right? That's how we show up. All right, so let's go on to Sunday. Sunday's probably the easiest day of the week. this week, unlike last week where it was pretty hectic. This particular weekend, Sunday, has the moon in Cancer into the void at 5 a.m. my time, so 8 a.m. for those of you on the West Coast, and there until 8:32 a.m. my time, 11:32 on the East Coast, where it will then move into Leo. The energy lightens once more or gets more dramatic, one or the other, or both. Who knows, right? The Leo moon is about love and romance, creativity, generosity, collaboration, celebration, playing, fun, dignity, right? The lion and his dignity, determination and strength, right? Those are just some of the qualities of Leo. We'll look more deeply at that on Monday morning. The moon on Sunday does have a couple of minor bleeps before we actually get into Leo. And that is an opposition to Saturn and a square to Mars, right? Mars in the later degrees of Aries, which is squaring Cancer, and Saturn in Capricorn sitting at the opposite point of the moon in Cancer. Those happen early and then they're done, right? Or they're done. So I think we're left probably with the square to Mars before we go into the void, which means that maybe we have a little bit of anger or frustration. Maybe we don't. Maybe we're just a little moody. Maybe we're a little burned out. Maybe we're a little tired. So maybe sleep in on Sunday morning, get a little bit of rest. Later, then the moon will move into I was going to say the moon will move into Leo and right into the arms of Venus, which is absolutely true because later in the day, there will be a conjunction of the moon to Venus. That'll be a better feel. It is going to be more celebratory and more fun. So more fun later in the day, get the ickies out in the morning, maybe sleep through them. If you can sleep in the morning on Sunday, do so. And once you get up, even if you're feeling a little bit icky, know that is going to shift as the moon shifts into Leo and then comes into the waiting arms of Venus. All right, let's look at our Pleiadian Earth energy for the 3 days of the weekend. I forgot to tell you about the transits of the moon in Cancer on Saturday. So let's back up for a moment before I go into the Pleiadian Earth energies. This is Saturday, right? Saturday, the moon in Cancer all day long, right? Doesn't enter the void until Sunday morning. The moon in Cancer will come into an opposition to Jupiter. That's a bit turbulent in our emotional field, right? We have Jupiter, and this actually happens before Jupiter turns direct. So it's still maybe the last vestiges of the inner work that we've done with Jupiter. Maybe it triggers some moodiness in us. Maybe we feel a little wistful for the things that we've let go of during that period of time. So the emotional field can be a little up and down. Then the moon will come into a trine, 120-degree angle, an ease and flow of the energy with Neptune. So we may be willing to express our feelings more fully. We may be very much aware of what it is we're feeling. We may be very intuitive, right? Intuition is pretty much skyrocketed when the moon comes into a trine with Neptune, but especially because this is happening in the sign of Cancer and Pisces, water signs, right? Water signs. The sun also gets into the game on Saturday in a sextile to the moon. This is go with the flow energy, right? Try not to use your ego or your will energy to get what you want done. It probably will blow up at you. So just go with the flow, right? C'est la vie. And just be willing to just go like water through whatever it is that shows up in your field. The last aspect on Saturday is an opposition from the moon to Pluto. This one is always a little more concerning because potential roadblocks pop up, limitations. We might be straining against something that's holding us back, a boundary perhaps, or a person, something that we are perceiving as something holding us back. So we might be really tempted to push. Don't push. Go with the flow, right? Go with the flow. All right, now let's do the Pleiadian Earth energy for the weekend. Today, like I said, we are at 4 being. 4 is always a number of stability and foundation. It's like In your human design, we might call it a stop codon, or in gene keys, we might call it the stop codon, right? We come to this point, we've had initiating energy, it's split into duality, it's come into its creative energy, it's beginning to express itself. Now we come to a pause or a stop for a moment where we can reevaluate where we are, where we're going, who we're doing that with, and even just sort of come to a position of rest, right? Just waiting here to see what comes next. The energy of being is Imish in the Mayan calendar, which was represented by the cosmic crocodile or the alligator, which was a nurturing energy. It represented birth. It represented initiation into something. It is a very mothering sort of energy that we come to. But what are we mothering? Or what are we smothering? Are we nurturing or are we undermining? So we have a lot of interesting things popping up on today, right? Today may set the tone for the shadow period for the collective. And there's been a lot of chattery stuff, things like coming out from the closet, things, it's, same old actually here in the USA. But in your own countries, if you're listening to me from other places, what's coming up out of the recesses, right? The dark places, the cracks that are here to show us what we might need to move forward to in order to change, to grow, and to nurture. What are we being asked to nurture next? Saturday, 5 energy, and that is the energy of movement, moving forward, right? Moving energy. It is also breathing energy that day, which was Ik. In the Mayan calendar, it represented the wind, right? The wind. Maybe for us here in the Pacific Northwest, we'll have wind that comes in that day and blows some of this stuff, dispersing it. Ultimately, in the smoke are particles that are, breaking down to carbon and to oxygen and to all the basic nitrogens, life components, right? So when that smoke settles into the ground, it actually holds within it nutrients. So there's something good that comes out of it. It's just hard between the time that we see the forest burning and the time we have the smoke to the time where it enters into the ground and begins to nourish the ground. But that's a side thought. So breathing energy brings us new ideas. It brings new perspective. And so we have this, fresh breeze sort of idea that comes through the collective on Saturday. Sunday is 6, listening. 6, remember, is the energy of flow. So we have moving energy the day before, and then that moving energy might encounter a block, right? Or something that it's some form of resistance. And so what we get on Sunday is the reminder of flow, right? Moving around, moving under. Maybe it's just a time to stop and reassess, right? Where are you? What's the block about? And that listening energy is the energy of, is it Kimmy? Yes. And it is the energy that really takes us into, nope, that is not. Hold, please. Why does my mind go blank sometimes on these things? Listening is Akbal. Duh. Akbal is the energy of the night, right? It's the energy of the void. It's taking us into the quiet place where we can really listen and hear the voice of our consciousness, the voice of source, giving us the refueling that we need, right? As we end up that day, almost to the bridge of the halfway point in this particular 13-day week. So listening on Sunday, with the 6 energy of flow, just meeting those, don't get angry or upset about any of the resistance or blocks that may appear in your path. Just find a way around it or hold, right? All right. So that is it for me for information. Let me go back to you all. Debbie Tibbetts says, sorry for the loss of your friends. Lots of people just cannot handle the energies right now. Exactly right, Debbie. And, or, another thought came to me during this time, it's the first time I've had in a long time. It's the first time that I've really had anybody pass away and, where you're coming face to face with, damn it, I left some things undone with this person and some major things undone with that person. And I'm like, but that person as a soul knows my heart and knows, you know, what was there, and whatever it was, we had come to a completion at some point before this, before her passing away. And so I look back with fond memories, but then I also think about, well, there's a lot of people leaving right now, but maybe they're in preparation for, you know, the evolution on the planet that's happening, and they'll be here as youth again, perhaps, to, you know, anchor a new awareness, a new energy, a new earth, right? So on that part, on one hand, it's sad that we lose people. On the other hand, they're off onto the next leg of their adventure. And there's always that to look at. Kamal, good morning. A lot of love from Kamal. We're sending it back to you as well. Hopefully everything is going good for you. Maybe you've come through, hopefully, your Saturn return and you're seeing it from a different perspective. I would hope that for you. Sylvester, good morning. Sending love and positive vibes. Indeed, everybody, thank you very much. But also sending it to one another as we're all going through these crazies, right? J-Lo says, I always see it a bit differently. Oh, I want to hear what you're talking about there, so I'll keep open. But I thought what I would do to end the show this morning is do a couple of collective card readings for the weekend, excuse me. I don't know where my Allison is. She would always remind me to do this. But today I think I'm going to give us a dog card and what else? Spirit animal. A dog and a spirit animal. Let's see. And if you guys have any other cards that you would like to see a collective pulled for. So I'm going to actually set the intention that this card reading helps us with the spirit of the collective shadow and giving us sort of the path forward, right? Advice, if you will, guidance. And we get, I don't even know how to say this. Basenji? Wow. I've seen a dog looking like this, but I've never known its name. So Basenji is our dog, and it says, find your voice. Find your voice. Let's see. I'm interested in this because I've never heard of that dog. Has anybody else heard of that dog? I recognize the face. Like I've seen a face like that before. I just didn't know the name of it, perhaps. All right. So Basenji, what does that mean? Oh. Okay, it's time to find your voice and speak your mind. Because you have held your opinion and your feelings inside for so long, when you express yourself, it could come out as anger or sarcasm. When you communicate your feelings in the moment with honesty and sincerity, it's all that you need to do. The anger and the sarcasm will disappear the more you are able to do this. Let down your defenses and trust that others have your best interest at heart. It's important for you to remember that you are not responsible for someone else's feelings or reactions. You need to be honest with yourself, say what you mean, and mean what you say. People don't like it when someone changes the rules because it disrupts their comfort zone. However, you will gain the respect of others and empower yourself when you find the courage to find your voice. Basenji's advice, you need to make friends with the beagle. All right. Interesting, because the card behind Basenji that I almost tried to ignore was Beagle. And underneath Beagle, it says loudmouth, right? That loudmouth. So let's read Beagle just because they were there. You have the gift of gab right now. You are a communicator and love to share your point of view. Be aware that some people may consider you a loudmouth. You are so passionate about your beliefs that at times the volume gets high and you don't know when to stop talking. It's hard to listen when you are doing all of the talking. Ask yourself if there are times when you need to quiet your howl. Beagle's advice, but there's so much people need to know. Love those cards, Leslie. Gosh. Okay, now, those are our dog pack cards. I'm going to get a spirit card, the spirit animal cards. We haven't touched these in a couple of weeks, I think. Okay, thanks, Asa and Debbie. I will definitely get Woto for the collective as well. And Debbie, you've been on my mind. I hope everything's going well for you there. Just haven't been able to get a moment. Moth spirit, surrender now. Wow, that is a fabulous looking card. Very red. It's card number 39, which is a 12, which is a 3, which is the number of self-expression and creativity. Moth Spirit, surrender now. And let's see, it came out right side up too. I forget this deck has a protection mode, but it wasn't in protection. So these are cards for the collective. That means that all of us can tap into the energies here and see how they can support us on our path forward. The Oracle's message says, Moth Spirit asks, what is guiding you right now? Are you in alignment with spirit or pursuing something or someone with so much tenacity that has become a compulsion or addiction? Are you so intoxicated by a potential relationship or opportunity that you cannot think straight? Hard work and dedication are virtues, and love, of course, is a beautiful thing. However, when Moth Spirit appears, it is time to consider if you have gone over the edge in a relentless pursuit. Workaholism, overeating, perfectionism, or addiction to certainty, or even to a person, may be your current vice. The form of your addiction does not matter so much as awareness of the consequences of remaining persistent when moderation is needed. Let go of your excessive energy by channeling it in more than one direction. The fire burns hot, and you do not want to be engulfed by your passion to the exclusion of all other pursuits that matter to you. Now is the time for surrender and radical acceptance so that your drive does not cause you to flee or to fight. Spirit wants you to release your need for certainty and control so that you can relax into a more balanced way of using your moth spirit energy. Banish the shoulds and the musts so that you can enjoy what is as you allow for what might be. Great advice, moth spirit. So we've had moth, we've had beagle, we've had, what was that other one? Bernice for something, I forgot now. And let's see, Debbie. Oh, she asked for the wisdom keeper. Wisdom keeper? She asked for wisdom keeper. Okay, so Debbie, let me get clear. What card did you want me to pull for the collective? The wisdom keepers are the wisdom keepers. Where did you go? These cards? These ones? Is that the one you want? The Wisdom Keepers Inner Guidebook with the cards, the faces, right, that we use for the lessons. Is that what you want? And Asa says the correct card you requested. Well, while I'm waiting for Debbie to tell me whether we need a wisdom card, I am going to deal a wisdom of the oracle. I'm not going to deal. I'm going to pull it. Oh, Lord. Let's see here. So this is a wisdom of the oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Beautiful deck. And one of our favorites to pull cards from. And Never Ending Story is our collective card. Never Ending Story. Now that makes me want to watch that movie. What would I do with the book? Oh my God, Janet. There we go. So here's our card. And go back to Zoom so I can make sure you're all seeing it. There we go. Card 37, which is a 10, which is a 1. So we have new beginning here. And yes, okay. So let's do 37. Never-ending story, self-criticism, the wounded ego, unnecessary dramas. So the Oracle's message says, there is a story woven through the imperfect fabric of life that tells of hurt and loss, rejection and humiliation, self-loathing and arrogance, and all manner of suffering born of unnecessary dramas. It is the old story whose refrain is that you cannot do this, must not go there, should not say that, lest your world come crumbling down. Today, know that none of this is actually true. The sky is not falling. The voice you hear is just a small, scared, conditioned part of you that got stuck in a lie, wants to protect you, and needs to be seen as a victim. Love that lost piece of you. Fear is all it knows. Distorted guidance is preventing you from being true to yourself. You are not your story, and the narrator is simply the voice of your fearful part, small and vulnerable and easily soothed. That's really good for all of us to hear. Okay, so got to look back here and see. Asa said yes to my question, which was, did she want the wisdom card? So these can be used as an oracle, right? That's what they really are, an oracle deck. I typically use them for storytelling to help us, connect with the gene keys and the human design aspect. But they can also, they're the wisdom guides, right? They can guide us into wisdom to get us through. This is, someone that might model to us what can get us through this collective shadow period. And we get card number 2, orientation. Orientation. So the gate 2, or the gene key 2, sits on the identity center, the yellow diamond, or it might be a white diamond in yours, depending on if you have it defined or not. And the gate 2 is at the bottom corner of the diamond, and it leads down toward the sacral. And often we consider it a gate of being receptive. It's feminine. It is the most feminine gate of the human design. So maybe it speaks to us a bit of that energy over the weekend of going into the void, both because the moon goes into the void, and we also have the energy of Akbal during the weekend, Sunday, for going into the dark, right? Going into the quiet, solitude. So number 2, orientation. Oops, totally skipped it. There we go. So the shadow here is dislocation. The gift is orientation. And the siddhi, I love it, unity. As you come more into contact with your unity with all creatures, you also witness an enhancement in your own uniqueness, particularly through your creative process. Here's the wisdom story. As a child, the trees were my friend and the animals were my family. To my people, everything was connected and pulsing with life. But then my family moved to a world of straight lines and tiny boxes. I felt different, cut off, and dislocated. Every turn I took seemed wrong. So I discarded my indigenous roots and started collecting human friends, money, and knowledge. I even dabbled in Western religions until I chose modern science as my God. My life became structured, ordered, and regimented. On the surface, I laughed at my parents' chaotic, irrational ways, but underneath, I felt helpless, out of sync, and full of self doubt. At night, I had recurring nightmares of humanity self destructing. At one point, I felt so lost. I considered ending my life. But then my grandmother passed away. The following night, she came to me in a dream and said, "Every time you reject your roots, my sweet boy, you not only reject me and our family, but the entire cosmos." That dream did something to me, something powerful. The very next day, I found myself planning a trip back to Australia. It would be the first time I visited since our family moved away. The moment I got off the plane, a flood of old feelings rushed through me. It was as if the land entered my bloodstream and my body remembered how it felt to trust, surrender, and let go. Ironically, it was also in that moment that I realized that there was nothing I needed to do, nowhere I needed to go in order to end the sense of lostness and emptiness that had ruled my life. Simply becoming aware of the longings underneath was enough to reorient and renew me with a surge of unexpected creativity. Now I know in my whole body that I belong no matter where I am, and that I have something wonderfully unique to contribute. Even in the busy city, the trees are my friends, and everything around me is part of a beautiful symphony where I am playing a unique and essential instrument. I love the poeticness of that story. My gift to you. I come to bring you the gift of orientation. When you look into my eyes, allow me to remind you of the deepest truth that we are all one. You and I may look different from each other, but deep down, we are the same. Care less about what others think of you and more about how you are a natural part of the whole. Open yourself up to a path of synchronicity as you surrender into my eyes. Don't think too much. Allow the certainty within me that we are all connected in a single unity, that all things happen in the exact right timing to reassure you that there is no way for you to be outside of the stream of life. It simply is not possible. Questions for contemplation. Are you feeling lost, alone, or out of sync? Or are you constantly trying to control, define, or regiment your life? When did you last feel a deep sense of unity, like you were in the flow and connected to all of life? Where were you? Who were you with? Find a simple way to reconnect with that feeling today. Spend time in nature, sing, dance, or laugh with others, go to a favorite place, and take it all in. So, Debbie, thanks for having me pull that card. That's a pretty nice card. I love it. All right, so orientation, bringing us back into sync with nature, with all of life. I think that's a great thing to happen as we go into the shadow, because I think the shadow is all about the fact that we disconnected from those very things as he did in the wisdom story. All right, everybody. That is it for me today. Let me take one last check over here, make sure I didn't miss something. J-Lo says she just got chills. That's always, validation bumps. Taylor says, me too. Christine Buckingham, yes. Weird, not weird. I keep asking myself things 2 times. That's great. So, okay. That's it, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Send love and healing energy out to the world. We need it. And I will see you on Monday. Bye for now.